This Chinese law professor and internet celebrity had his social media account wiped. Was it for mentioning China's organ harvesting? Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by PC Doctor Toolbox. Protect your PC from software crashes, hardware failures, and the kind of glitches that make your life miserable. So in China, the Constitution guarantees free speech. Yeah, it actually does. It's in Article 35. Now you might think, but the Chinese government arrests people for things they say, so it's not following its own constitution. But you'd be wrong. You see, a few paragraphs later, the Constitution clarifies that citizens, in exercising their freedoms and rights, may not infringe upon the interests of the state. So you can say whatever you want, as long as it doesn't offend or expose people in power. Freedom of speech, with Chinese characteristics. Just part of socialism with Chinese characteristics. But surprisingly, one famous Chinese criminal law professor failed to understand this. After one video of his started circulating online, he had years of work and millions of followers on Chinese social media wiped out. This is Professor Luo Xiang. He's the director of the Institute of Criminal Law at a prominent university in Beijing. But he's much more than that. Luo Xiang is like a rock star. Well, a rock star among criminal law professors. But still, over time, he accumulated 2.5 million followers on Weibo, China's version of Twitter. Then, when COVID hit, his classroom lectures were moved online to Bilibili, China's version of YouTube, where he quickly gained 15 million followers. He even got a stint on China's hip new stand-up comedy show.
2020年啊，对我来说是非常神奇的一年。突然呢，就进入到一个全民网课的时代。有人啊，把我在厚大讲课的视频搬到了 B 站，很快呢，就有1000万粉丝。我真的没想到，大家最喜欢的网课居然是刑法课。所以朋友也劝我啊，你别老发那些高深的东西，你发自拍呀。就我这个颜值发自拍，虽然不违法，但是也有一点不道德。
Hold on. If Luo can make it big with mediocre jokes like that, how come I can't get 15 million followers and an invitation to a Chinese comedy show? My jokes are even more mediocre. But while Professor Luo Xiang may have a lot of interesting things to say, it's dangerous to say some of them. In a video that was circulating online a couple weeks ago, he touched the Chinese Communist Party's third rail topic, forced organ harvesting.
这种精神不正常的人，这种智力残缺的人，这种天天吃垃圾桶的人，然后呢，就把他们拐走，放到郊区，洗干净，养得白白胖胖，定期送到血站去卖血，甚至定期去摘取他们的器官，把人当畜生一样的养。
Luo was talking about cases like this one from 2009, where a homeless man was killed and his organs harvested. Several doctors were implicated in the crime. It doesn't seem like Luo was talking about how the Chinese regime itself kills dissidents and ethnic minorities for their organs. But even mentioning forced organ harvesting is taboo in China. Outside China, a lot of people already know the Chinese Communist Party is killing people for their organs. And if you didn't, check out my episode, 6 Things That Show China's Organ Harvesting is Real. An international tribunal confirmed it in 2019. You can read all the evidence in their 60-page judgment, or you can just watch my listicle video. The point is, forced organ harvesting is being carried out directly by the Chinese state in state-run hospitals. But the Chinese state also gave itself the constitutional right to forbid any free speech that infringes upon the interests of the state. Which brings us back to Professor Luo Xiang. The Chinese Communist Party does not want anyone talking about forced organ harvesting, especially when it's trying to celebrate its 100-year anniversary this month. And so, Luo Xiang's Weibo account was wiped clean. It's not clear whether authorities wiped his account or whether Luo did it himself after being pressured. Either way, it was the result of Luo Xiang saying things that could not be said. Human rights activist and lawyer Teng Biao pointed out that this censorship shows how authorities have repeatedly tightened control over speech. And intellectuals with a reputation and conscience, like Luo Xiang, are now forced to quit Weibo and no longer have room to speak. Silencing intellectuals, a proud communist tradition. But even before Luo Xiang's Weibo account was wiped clean, he had made several controversial statements. A lot of his most popular videos criticized problems in Chinese society and issues with China's legal system. Like when he said Chinese laws are written in a vague way, and that makes it easier for authorities to abuse them. Even in this video, Luo is criticizing social Darwinism and how it runs rampant in modern Chinese society, which could be seen as a criticism of the Chinese Communist Party. The sad truth is that if you talk about problems with Chinese society, sooner or later you're going to get in trouble with the Chinese Communist Party. Luo Xiang has been repeatedly harassed on Weibo by patriotic pro-CCP commenters. And then there's the fact that he's criticized Chinese officials for having double standards. In this post from January, Luo Xiang pointed out hypocrisy by China's foreign minister, Zhao Lijian. Zhao had pushed the theory that the coronavirus was a bioweapon created by the United States and set out to infect China. Zhao even called for the World Health Organization to investigate an American lab at Fort Detrick as the possible origin of the coronavirus. Professor Luo Xiang saw this and wrote, "Regarding the theory about America creating the coronavirus as a bioweapon, is this not spreading rumors and false information? How come there are no punishments for sharing this rumor? In accordance with the law, this is a typical case of purposefully broadcasting false and fear-mongering news. I hope officials can handle this accordingly." No wonder Luo Xiang's Weibo account was wiped. For now, Luo Xiang's other videos, aside from the organ harvesting ones, are still up on his teaching platform, so he can still give his university lectures. And his videos are still on Bilibili. But it looks like he won't be back on Weibo anytime soon. And this episode is sponsored by PC Doctor Toolbox. Computer and software crashes, hardware failures, and general computer slowdowns are way too common. And they can come up during the worst times, like during a business meeting or when you're traveling away from home and your trusted IT person isn't around. If you're concerned about the health of your computer and want tools to prevent untimely system issues, you should be using PC Doctor Toolbox. Stop crashes before they happen. And we have a special 50% off discount just for China Uncensored viewers. Use the link and coupon code below to take advantage of this limited time offer. I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.